Welcome to Concept Craft. We are presenting step-by-step videos training to crack your certification exam, so you can gain the confidence to take on any accounting challenge. Now let's begin our today's lesson. Advanced categorization methods. Learning outcomes. In this lesson, we'll cover using advanced categorization to optimize reports in QuickBooks Online. Topics: categorizing transactions using accounts and subaccounts. Using advanced categorization options. How categorization works in QuickBooks Online. The transaction journal. There's more to categorizing transactions. Many clients know how to set up their QuickBooks Online companies by creating accounts and subaccounts. With subaccounts, your clients can track the details of income and expenses in a simple and straightforward way. However, QuickBooks Online has other categorization options that allow clients to get the information they need more effectively. How can you and QuickBooks Online help? QuickBooks Online contains many categorization options beyond accounts and subaccounts. When used correctly, these advanced categorization options provide clients with the tailored data they need to grow their businesses. Categorizing transactions using accounts and subaccounts. The most common way for clients to categorize transactions is through accounts and subaccounts. They can create up to 5 hierarchical levels of accounts, including the parent. Using accounts and subaccounts allows clients to view the subaccount data under the parent account on any reports that show accounts. Roll up all the subaccounts into the parent to get a very streamlined report by selecting the down arrow next to the parent account name. Expand individual groups of accounts by selecting the sideways arrow next to the group name. To see less detail, select the down arrow and collapse the group. What are the drawbacks to using accounts and subaccounts to categorize transactions? Clients who use a large number of accounts and subaccounts can end up with a long and unwieldy chart of accounts, balance sheet, and profit and loss report. Also, they may have to upgrade to QuickBooks Online Advanced if they have more than 250 active accounts and subaccounts. Another drawback is that it's easy to set up similar-sounding accounts, which can lead to errors. For example, a client might set up an insurance subaccount under Auto and another insurance subaccount under Office. Using advanced categorization options. QuickBooks Online offers several advanced categorization methods that keep a client's chart of accounts streamlined while producing insightful reports tailored to their business needs. How does advanced categorization work? QuickBooks Online can track the income, expenses, and net profit of different segments of a business or organization, such as departments, product lines, stores, regions, and individual jobs and projects. Advanced categorization allows clients to use these categories to streamline their charts of accounts or add additional columns to their profit and loss reports. For example, a profit and loss report that previously showed just accounts and subaccounts can now show regions, product lines, or business units. What advanced methods of categorization can you use? QuickBooks Online can categorize transactions by class, location, job, project, customer, or sub-customer, or by using tags, or a combination of methods. Note that class, location, and project tracking aren't available in QuickBooks Online Simple Start and QuickBooks Online Essentials. In QuickBooks Online Plus, there are limits to the number of classes and locations you can add. There are also limits on the number of tags and tag groups that you can add, depending on the client's subscription level. Read our article about usage limits in QuickBooks Online. You can learn more about the advanced methods of categorization in the lessons on class tracking, location tracking, tracking profitability by customers, using projects, and advanced tagging in QuickBooks Online. How categorization works in QuickBooks Online. To identify the best advanced categorization option, or options, for your client, you need to understand the concept of sources and targets. Sources and targets are how QuickBooks Online maps transaction data to an account, subaccount, or other advanced categorization option. Each method affects sources and targets differently. For example, class tracking affects targets but not the source account of the transaction. Select the headings to learn more. What are transaction sources? The source of a transaction is the summary information about it, which includes the transaction date, transaction type, reference number, name, memo, account, location, job, Custom field. Total amount of the entire transaction. There's only one source per transaction, and it's visible in the top header section of the invoice, as shown here. Source accounts are always balance sheet accounts, such as bank, undeposited funds A/R, A/P, or credit card type accounts. What are transaction targets? These provide information on how the transaction is distributed in the general ledger. Targets include memos, accounts, amounts, class, and job. A transaction can only have one source, but it can have many target lines. The target data is on the line item grid in the middle of the following image. For transactions that involve product/services, the setup of the product/service determines the target account. Where can I see more information about the sources and targets relating to transactions? To get more detail about a transaction, select More, then Transaction Journal. The Transaction Journal shows the source and target information of the transaction. See the next section for details. What if I'm using journal entries? Journal entries are the only transactions that don't have a source and at least one target. Journal entries don't have a source. Every line is a target line. Plus, you can't record a journal entry that's not balanced. So, if you use a journal entry to adjust a transaction category, you must debit and credit the same amount. This is important if you're using location tracking, which you can learn about in the location tracking lesson. Read our article to find out more about using journal entries. The Transaction Journal. The Transaction Journal is a report that shows the source and target information of a transaction. The first line of the report contains the source data. The rest of the lines are target data that show how the transaction was distributed to the general ledger. In the following example, the accounts receivable category and the total amount of the invoice are considered the source of the transaction. The targets of the transaction are how it was distributed, which for this invoice is income, cost of goods sold, inventories, sales tax. Although the transaction journal doesn't show source detail on every line, other detail reports, such as the Sales by Customer Detail Report, show source info such as transaction date, type, reference number, and name on the target lines. Summing up. Learning outcomes. Well done. In this lesson, we covered using advanced categorization to optimize reports in QuickBooks Online. Knowledge recap. Advanced categorization in QuickBooks Online allows you and your clients to group similar transactions together to get more meaningful reports. These categorization methods can include locations, customers or sub-customers, classes, and projects. You can now help your client decide which of these advanced categorization methods to use, depending on their needs. Remember that you can choose more than one method. Next steps. In the next lesson, we'll cover setting up and optimizing class tracking in QuickBooks.